Hi guys, welcome back. So let's talk about a potential series-winning England team to go to Australia. I think it's going to be a really good tour, a really tough tour for sure. In my last England video, when I talked about a squad maybe to go to Australia, I was talking about resting players, a bit of a development squad. I'm going to take a different tack in this video and just go for if you pick the strongest England team available, and I'm not picking any injuries at the moment, although of course they may come back into it. So the likes of Law, Simmons, Curry, I think Sinclair's resting is back, Johnny Hill, I'm not picking any of those guys yet. I don't think they're fit yet, but maybe they'll come back into it. But still, I think there's a really good England team out there that may address some of the weaknesses we saw in the Six Nations. And I'm just talking pure personnel here rather than the systems, which there were some problems there. But in the forwards, I thought close in, they lacked a bit of punch when they got close to that line, trying to just bust over with brute force. I think in the second row, they were pretty light as well. And in the backs, they really lacked power and speed as well. So I think this team should hopefully solve a bit of that. Let me know what you think of it and what you would pick as your strongest team right now to go to Australia. So in the front row, loose head, I think you take Genge and Marler as absolutely your 1 and 2 loose heads. I think they're really good. They combine to have a bit of everything. Genge not the biggest, but Marler's got a bit more bulk. Genge a bit more explosive. Marler that experience. So I think that's really good. Some suggestions that maybe Marler might not tour to Australia, but at the moment I'm just going to assume he can take his strongest squad there. At hooker, a slight change. I think Jamie George retains that starting spot as that experience. Fantastic in the set piece. But I think George McGuigan, just by sheer form, can't be ignored. 29 years old now for Newcastle. Playing really well, keeping a Blamire there on the bench. He is Irish qualified, but he's an English player and he's absolute quality and he just scores and scores for fun. Plus his work around the park has been brilliant. Just can't ignore it anymore. I think George and George McGuigan go as your two hookers in that starting, or that 23, shall we say. In the second row, who goes alongside a Toje? Well, I think with the injuries we've got, we go with Launchbury, a big number 5 there. And then backing them up on the bench, I think Ribbons of Northampton, just so consistent, I think now deserves his chance. So he comes in as the third second row. Into the back row, giving a bit more close range power and carrying, we have Alfie Barbary. Yes, I know he plays 8 mainly, but I'm having Don Brandt as my 8. So Barbary comes in at 6 and adds some serious carrying power. Gives him real licence to go out there and just carry the ball in close. Don Brandt will hit lines and act a bit wider out and Underhill all over the place. So I think Barbary absolutely is ready. This is the tour for him to go on and have some fun essentially. At 7 with Tom Curry injured, Underhill is in, and great news is he's in really good form, scoring lots of tries as well, looks right on top of it for Bath, back to his best, so that's fantastic. And at 8, I'm going to have Don Brandt there, and he is my captain. Now, because I'm not starting Farrell can't be my captain for me, you have to start. Don Brandt's been the captain of Harlequins a few times now as well. I think he's a good leader. I think he's clever as well. He understands the game. We don't have Laws, who's been doing some captaining. We don't have Curry. So I think Don Brandt's actually a really good call, especially because a core of this team is Harlequins. And I did mention in a previous video that building a team around, one club can help. And I think Harlequins could be that team for England to build around. At halfback, Randall and Quirk, absolutely my 9s. Really explosive, very, very dangerous. They will scare teams. You can have them round either way. I think it's the time just to get those youngsters in and play them. I think they're your best 9s at the moment. At 10, absolutely Marcus Smith. I love the guy. I think he's a fantastic player. He's not perfect. We know we've seen a few kicking wobbles here and there, but he's going to get better. And with Farrell on the bench, that is some experience to come on either at 10 and 12. I think it's a great role for Farrell actually being on the bench. In the centres, now I don't normally pick Tuolangi until he's had a run of games fit. Now he has had a run of games fit. So if he does stay fit, he plays 12. That much needed power. He's been playing 12 for Sale as well, not just 13, which is fantastic. I'm sure Jones will actually start Farrell, to be honest, but if Tuolangi's fit, I would start him at 12, and at the moment he is. At 13, I'm starting Marchant. I think he's your future 13 going into the World Cup. Slade's very close. He's on the bench, and between them they can cover the centres and the back three as well, which is quite useful. But I think Marchant's your man, especially because I'm building this team a bit around Harlequins, so he goes in at 13. On the wings, all change. Power time. Let's bring in the big boys. Hassel, Collins, Liner. I think they're old enough now. They've had some experience in the Premiership. They're absolutely ready. They're big, they're quick, they're eager, they're going to score and they're going to scare teams. And England just didn't have that at all in the Six Nations. We were very lightweight and slow really on the wings. At fullback, definitely Stewart. He's the man. He's getting better and better. Already forged a big reputation for being one of the best under the high ball in the world, and his game will continue to evolve. And with that pace and power on the wings now, takes a bit of a pressure off his shoulders because they were using him as like a go-to ball carrier, etc. I didn't like the way they're having to pull him out of position because they didn't have anything else. On the bench, we've pretty much mentioned everything apart from Jack Willis. Jack Willis, back fit now. Goodness me, he is a classic old school player with dog, you'd call it. Just gets stuck in, loves to grind. Very good close to the line as well. And of course his jackling's amazing, his tackling's amazing. I think between them they could cover all the positions. So really liking this team. If this was the team to start in Australia, I'd be really excited. I think they'd have a great chance. But let me know what you think, who you change around, who you agree with, and what other players you would bring in to make this team even better potentially. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts and I'll catch you next time.